What's up, guys? We are back. This is Dana White Contender Series, the finale of 2024. It's also Week 10. I'm your host, Picks by Pegasus. I'm here with Key 3 Picks and Dravey. UFC 98, total nightmare for me. These two made money. Me, opposite. Lost a lot of money. JSP, probably a big mistake. I think he's done chain for me forever, but we'll get into that separately another time. Let's take a look at this fight. This one's going to be 5 fights. There's a women's fight here for Key. It's his favorite. We'll go into it. We'll bust it down with the first fight. Why is it not sharing? I'm trying to make it share and it's not sharing. Let's see. All right. Did that share?
Yeah, you got it.
Also, Jonathan in his topology picture does not look anything what he looks like in his tape. Let's see here. This is just bad for airtime. All right, we got Muhammad Otto versus Jonathan Micallef. Muhammad Otto is 5-0. He's 24, 5'11", with a reach that we can't see. Jonathan, or Jono is his name, is 25, 6 feet tall, and they don't have his reach either. I don't think this is right. I don't think Ado is as big as 5'11", but that's besides the point. Odds on these two gentlemen, you can get it's not none of these Contender Series odds are showing up for me. What the fuck? This is terrible airtime.
Yeah, Ado is plus 100 and Micallef is minus 130.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so those are the two odds. Who wants to go first? Do you guys want me to go first here?
You go first.
Absolutely. All right, so looking at this matchup, right? This one is going to be relatively easy to break down. Jono is, he's a decent striker. I think he puts, his jab cross together well. I don't think he's anything exceptional on the feet. He'll kind of throw head kicks at the time. He'll kind of like, he has decent, like, I don't know, like movement in the cage, like lateral movement. It's decent, but it's nothing special. What he's looking for is takedowns. He's got good takedown defense. He's constantly going for takedowns. When he shoots those takedowns, he's deep on the hips. He captures both legs very well. His top control is very good, and his ground and pound is very good. He played a lot of this things that are important to him. I think the physicality is what he plays to. His strongest here. Looking at it from the standpoint of Otto, I think Otto is going to have the better leg kicks. He's going to have a good jab. He kind of like fakes his kicks really well, which I think will give Micallef problems later on in the fight. He's got decent takedowns. He's got tight chokes. His top controls is not that great. He'll probably be able, Micallef, if he gets taken down, will be able to get up no problem, but I don't even see that happening. And I don't think his takedown defense is the best. The only thing about him is he's got crazy cardio and he's tough as hell. So I'm going to go with Jono Micallef here. He's 6-1. The other guy's 5-0. If you watch Jono's one loss, he got it. I think it was a bait is who he lost to. If you watch that fight back, he got beat up pretty bad in that one, but outside of that, he's looked pretty good. So I think this is kind of, striker versus grappler. I think we're going to see that a lot in this card. And I'm going to start off the card with going with the guy in Jono who's going to grapple more. Droff, what do you think?
I'm not sure. Why do you like him? Like, you gave a breakdown for Ado, but not really for the other guy. Why do you think he wins?
Say again?
Why do you think Jonathan win? You kind of gave a breakdown for Ado, but not really for the other guy, and you're picking him to win. Not sure to understand.
I did the wrestling. Then I just said Otto, I don't think his takedown defense is that good, and I think Micallef knows that he's going to be the more physically imposing guy, and I think he's going to take him down more. That's why I think he's going to win.
Do you think you win it via wrestling?
Via wrestling, yes. Contract, okay. I think if Micallef wins, I'll also predict this. If Micallef does win, he won't get a contract. I love the over for this fight also. That's
all right. Makes sense. Yeah, I didn't understand correctly. My bad. Yeah. I think it's kind of a tricky fight to call, to be honest. I think you can make a case for both sides. I like Hado a little bit more, though. You're saying he's more of a wrestler grappler, and I mean, if you only watch his last couple fights, you're gonna think that. But if you go back, did you watch his first fight against Matt Special, his pro debut?
Are we talking about Otto or Micallef?
For Ado. His first pro fight 2 years ago against
No. I said Micallef is the wrestler. I said Ado is not the wrestler.
Okay, because I mean, if you watch almost all of his tapes, Ado is wrestling, grappling all these people, but he didn't really do that in the first pro fight, or his wrestling didn't look as good in that fight. He did strike more, and I like what I see, to be honest. Like the guy has a Muay Thai and kickboxing background. I think his striking is pretty good. I know there's not like you can't really see his striking much on tapes, but if you look a little bit deeper, you do some more research on Instagram, you can find some tapes on Muay Thai fight, kickboxing fight, and even his first pro fight. I think it was a good look. Um, just the first round, how he come out in that fight. He's 0-0. He accepted a fight against a 4-0 prospect, and he knocked him out. The KO was slick, a head kick from the clinch, nasty KO. And I like a lot of things that I've seen from him. Like, I think his striking's good. I think his speed and power is there. Very good leg kicks. I think he's gonna destroy this guy's legs, to be honest. Nasty head kick, like I just mentioned. He has fast hands, and also his ground game is pretty good. I mean, the guy has good scrambles. If he gets taken down, he's not really gonna accept bottom position. He can get his own takedowns, and so I like him better on the feet than Jonathan here, to be honest. But I think Jonathan can compete on the feet. He has good head kick himself. And yeah, he's kind of a dog, But so is Ado. The first fight I've mentioned, he got hurt in round 2, pretty bad. Not pretty bad, but he got wobbled a couple times in that fight, and then he showed that heart and came back in round 3 where he was probably down on the cards, and he managed to find a beautiful KO on the clinch. I like this guy, man, and his grappling. He has good grappling coaches. I've listened to some interviews. I like what I'm hearing. He's around good people. And like I said, I think he's the better striker. And I think on the ground, I think it's going to be close. Jonathan seems to be bigger and stronger than him. But I don't really think that if you take him down, I don't think he's going to have an easy time controlling him. And I don't really think he's going to submit him. So with that being the case, I think that on the feet, yes, Ado is hittable himself. But I think Jonathan's striking defense is very bad. And I think that Ado, he fought a southpaw before, and he kicks his leg pretty bad. And Jonathan's a southpaw. I don't think Hado's going to have issues with that. I think he's going to destroy the legs early. And when it's going to be done, it's going to be harder to get takedowns. I think Hado could get takedowns potentially. But yeah, I think if they scramble, I think there's a good chance that Ado end up on top, to be honest. And I think it's just going to be a kind of a close fight. But I think that Ado should be a little bit of a favorite, maybe 55%, around minus 125, minus 130. And now he's the underdog. So, yeah, I'm going to pick him to win. And at the end of the day, he's the undefeated guy here. I know he didn't fight the same level of competition as
not even close to the same level of competition.
Jonathan. Yeah, he fought good competition. But when he fought a good guy against Bat, it's like you said, he got beat the fuck up in that fight. Like, he got hurt, he got dropped, he got knocked out. He didn't do anything. But I guess the Luciano fight's a good look. Decision. He's a good guy. So good win there. He fought the better guys. Props to him for that. But I think that Ado's striking is going to cause him issues, and I think in the grappling it's going to be close. So I like the underdog here.
All right, Key, what are you thinking here? Also, by the way, betting wise, just to clarify, I'm not betting Micallef. I'm taking the over. I think this fight goes over at a pretty high clip. What are you thinking, Droff? Or Key? Sorry.
Yeah. I'm sad at how many hours I wasted of my life taping this card, if I'm being completely real.
Me too.
Yeah, this is a nasty card to end the season off on. But I was somewhat underwhelmed with this fight. I know that dude has a lot of hype coming in. In the first fight, in his pro debut, we got to see more of an extension and more extended periods of him striking. And going into tape, I didn't know a ton, but I've seen some clips and heard about the hype. I had asked Rob about his background. He told me about his Muay Thai and kickboxing background. And like Rob mentioned, if you were to watch his last 3 to 4 fights, you would think that, oh, this guy is just coming in here to grapple. But his first fight, he showed off some striking. And honestly, I was very underwhelmed. I don't think that striking has really truly translated to the sport as well as I would have thought it would. In the Instagram clips and the other clips, he looks pretty sharp and nice. And there are areas of his game. His feints look decent. He checks leg kicks pretty well. And so striking, you can tell that he does have a background there. But it just didn't translate all the way defensively, in my opinion. In that first fight, he got rocked and wobbled really, really badly. If somebody else that actually had traits and real tools probably would have got him out of there. But that's debut jitters. You can chalk that up to the game. I personally think he was losing that fight up until that goofy ass head kick out of the clinch, which I can't say was super slick. Great clip. But yeah, I think that he was losing that fight. 1-1 is an argument. You can argue 2-0 for the other guy. But I thought that he was losing that fight. And then he finds that head kick. I mean, he is a solid fighter. He has that dog in him. He's going to keep fighting for 15 minutes. I can't say that. And then you can tell that he wants to show off his grappling. And I don't believe that he's the best grappler of all time. And he's getting reversed by regional guys in Canada who I don't rate very highly at all. But again, he is finding these subs. It seems as if in one of those fights he was actually hurt, and still found a way to find the sub. So I gotta give it to the guy. He is a fighter. I think that he's here a little bit too early. They're saying he's 24, I believe. And I know that Ali Abdelaziz, as many know, is backing him right now. He's with Dominance MMA in their management group, and that's what I assume why he's here. Because as soon as he announced that he got this Dana White Contender Series shot, so I assume that he's getting pushed by them and pushed hard. I know that Dana's known about this guy for a little bit, but I still think that it's a little too early. I would have liked to see him on regionals. I think that if we're talking next season, Dana White Contender Series, I think that he would potentially be ready. I don't think he's a UFC level guy right now. On the Micallef side, I know I talked all last week about Cody Haddon, and shout out to everybody who tailed us on that. But I talked all about Cody Haddon and these guys from Australia coming in ready to go, and just seems like they do all the right things. Micallef is not one of those guys. Do not group him in with those Australians. Nope. He's a big guy. He's strong. He's gonna wrestle here. I think that we're gonna see a lot of sloppy grappling exchanges. I think that Adu can maybe catch him with something, but I think that Adu is also liable to get bonked himself just because he doesn't have great striking defense. And that chin, I want to see it tested a couple more times. And I want to know if that was just truly debut jitters or if that's a serious thing that we need to keep track of for the rest of his career. And I also think that Adu could, low key, I know he fought catchweight at like 165 or something earlier in his career. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a guy that could probably even make 155. He doesn't look like a huge welterweight at all. And so I think that Micallef's going to be the bigger guy here. I'm not backing either side. I can understand plus money. Either side, you can make an argument, but I think that this is probably a pick 'em or so. I don't think either guy should be here. Both guys need more time. So yeah, I'll keep it like that. It's a pass for me.
I'm going to add too. You made a point that I meant to mention. I had written down. If you watch the chokes that Otto got on his scene, a lot of those chokes aren't under the neck. This guy must have crazy strength or crazy squeeze or something, because the chokes he's setting in are wild. I think he just has one of that. He's got like super strength. So I just wanted to add that to the Otto side. But like I said, I think this goes over pretty high. Let's look at our next fight here. It is, Key, you're going to start us off here. It is, share this tab. Julieta Martinez versus Leslie Hernandez. Leslie Hernandez is 4-1. She's 26, 5'3", the 64-inch reach. Julieta Martinez is 20 years old, 5'1", 61-inch reach. One's out of MMA Lab. The other one's out of Team Phoenix in Argentina. Odds in these two ladies, Julieta Martinez is -130 to -160. Leslie Hernandez +100 to +130. Key, do your thing.
Yeah, Dora the Destroyer. I think I like her. I've been watching her LFA for a good grip now. solid girl, does a lot of the right things, fights close, but can stick to a game plan, is going to fight hard, isn't going to gas out, just sort of mid. I don't think that she's somebody that should be here yet. I think that in a couple years, I think that she would be somebody that I would say should be on Dana White Contender Series. But there's another case where I think that this is probably a little bit too early. And so I know that she has a super extensive amateur background in boxing and pro. In Mexico, I know that she boxed for their national team, has a couple titles there. And her boxing has translated pretty well to MMA. At the beginning of her career, she was very hands only, but she's starting to mix in a lot more kicks. And you can tell the work with the MMA lab, John Crouch, Mario Bautista, all the guys that they have over there are starting to pay off. Because her MMA overall game is just getting better in front of us, which is why I say that she just needs more time. On the Julieta Martinez side, Samurai Fight House took down privated all the events that she's in for the most part. So it's very hard to find much of anything on her besides her Instagram and some of the amateur stuff. The amateur fight that she lost by armbar to a soccer mom. I probably lined my girl for a -200 against that girl, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I mean, -200, 10 units. Like I'm betting the house on my girl against that girl. How she lost, may the world never know. She literally just gave her arm pretty much in an exchange, and the girl took the arm home with her. Julieta had to tap. That was a really bad look. That was back in 2022. Keep in mind, this girl is, I believe, 20.
Yes,
20
just
years
turned
old.
20.
Yeah, just turned 20. So you're talking about a girl in 2022 who you're 17, 18 years old, potentially at that time. So mistakes are made. Since that, she's been undefeated, continuing to beat up on soccer moms. I'm not impressed, if I'm being completely honest. But the scary part is that it's obvious that she's getting pushed by the UFC. I know she's at the Mexico PI. She's been putting in the work on social media. It seems as if she's been locked in. Her kicks are decent. There's not a lot of process. She'll just sort of spam them like she's playing a video game. A lot of girls tend to do that and get away with it just because the girls don't have power to take advantage. But she's a girl that just seems to be spamming kicks. I believe she has a Taekwondo background, and she's just sort of spamming kicks in range. And on grappling wise, on top, she seems to be at least a motherfucker. She loves that arm bar transition. She will go to it. She loves half guard, and she will slide the mount. Ground and pound is pretty vicious. It's just hard to tell. Argentina women's MMA scene is probably one of the worst out there, and I've watched a shit ton of women's MMA, and I can say Argentina is probably one of the worst areas. I mean, you're talking about the GOAT Aileen Perez is coming out of there. I mean, like, come on, we got to be serious. Yeah, like this isn't tough competition. She's saying, and Leslie's facing real girls. Like Jade Duran just got a knockout on Karate Combat this past weekend. Christina Brodeur is not bad, in my opinion. She's a good cage pusher, MMA Masters girl. She's going to fight. And then the girl that she fought in her debut, Taikingo, she's a huge strawweight. And I believe that one of the tougher matchups that she's going to see on the regional scene, period. In this fight, it's hard for me to pick a side confidently just because we don't know enough about Martinez. She's young. She's getting the push. It seems like the UFC really wants her in. And Leslie is green in her career. I think she needs more time. If this line gets out of hand and people start to hammer Martinez based off of some of the hype and just highlights, I could be down for the Hernandez side. But as of right now, I believe it's sitting at like +100 flat. I'm not too keen to get on just because Hernandez she does all the right things, but isn't great at anything as of right now. And I think that she just needs more time fighting in MMA. So this is a pass fight for me. And I'm sad to pass on the last women's MMA fight of the season, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll go quick. I didn't tape this fight, so I'm going to save everyone's time. I'm going to go with Hernandez here just because, I tapped both their tapologies when I was looking at them. And Leslie Hernandez is out of LFA and MMA Lab. The other girl is fighting at Samurai House and Team Phoenix. So I know there's some credibility on the Leslie side. And Julieta Martinez, I have no idea to a sense of credibility. So I'm going to go with Leslie Hernandez. But I wouldn't put my money on this fight.
And real quick, the other thing that's keeping me off of Hernandez is the times that she is losing, she's playing off of her back, and that is potentially problematic against Martinez, who has a black belt in BJJ, and that seems to be her winning path in a lot of these fights. And so she is playing off of her back a lot, and that to me is a bad look. So go ahead, Drav.
Yeah, Drav, take it away.
Keys not leaving me anything to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. I kind of like Hernandez a little bit more than you do in their striking. I think her boxing is very good for this level, at least. You know, the speed is there, the power is there. And if you go to the body at this level, like, and you're hurting girl to the body and you're, you know, having power in your hands, it's a good look to me. And you said it well. At first, she was mostly a boxer because she does have a good boxing background. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she has like 40 boxing fight and like, what is that, 4 title that she won in Mexico? A dozen.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 titles.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive, you know, at such a young age. And on the ground, I don't think she's bad. Like, her takedown defense is okay, but sometimes, like you said, she can play off her back. But I mean, I've seen her like get up, and what she does when she's on the ground, she's kind of like, when her opponent's kind of getting back up a little bit, she's just kicking them to the body, and then she's getting right back up, or she's trying to use her grappling to get back up. And sometimes it does work, but I'm worried that here Martinez is going to settle on top and Hernandez is going to lose minute on bottom, because sometimes she's not urgent enough to get up. And we know that Martinez is going to go for takedowns. We know that she's good on top. Like you said, good on bar, good ground and pound. But against who? That's kind of the thing here, because, you know, Hernandez has been facing real girl. The way I'm looking at it, the girl she lost to or she wins against are pretty good and better than the girl Martinez has been facing. A funny thing is, I think you can make an argument that she won or the split decision or first pro fight, but you can also say that she lost the split decision that she has a win on against Brader. I kind of think that she lost that one, to be honest. So yeah, it's gonna be Hernandez with the better hands, faster, more powerful. But then I think she's doing a better job these days with the kicks. Like, she's kicking the legs, she go with the body with the kicks, even some head kicks in there. And I like her elbows in the clinch. Her clinch games in general is pretty good. But Martinez, her kicks are pretty slick. I think she's fast with it. She's spamming kicks a little bit, like you said. But I think her kicks are good. And she seems to be strong also. And going to go for takedowns here. But it's just that, is Hernandez going to try to get back up or play off her back? That's kind of my thing here. And if she wants to get back up, is she's going to be able to or not? Because if the fight play out on the feet and turn out that, you know, she can get back up or she can defend the takedowns, I think she's clear to decide. That's kind of an unknown, because Martinez tapes, and I mean, I've watched her. I think I found only 2 fights that I could watch. All the other fights are on her Instagram, the highlights and everything, but you don't really see her against adversity and stuff like that. Hernandez, I've seen her in tough fight that she's getting cut, that she's having blood in her face. And she has that heart, she has that dog, she has that cardio. I've seen that. So I kind of like Hernandez here, but the price is a little bit short for me to get involved here because of the wrestling on the other side. And I have a feeling that people's going to play Martinez a little bit more, just because, you know, she's undefeated. She's just based on Tapology. Also, you show it peg, but I think 80% are picking her. And yeah, the line switched there. I think that pretty sure she did open an underdog. Let me just confirm, or a favorite. Yeah, so when Martinez opened -210 and she's -130 now. So a lot of money came in on Hernandez. I agree with it. You can get +110 on some books right now. I think like +125, +130 range will make sense for me, but it's clearly dog or pass. I wouldn't lay chalk on Martinez. I think there's some unknowns here, and that's a step up at the end of the day. So I'm gonna pick Hernandez to win this. I like her boxing more. I like her power. I like her speeds, or the body shots, and yeah, it's probably gonna be a close fight though. So I think it could turn out to be like a good banger. Hernandez has a fight, like her first pro fight, 1 million views on Instagram, on YouTube. My bad. Like I think they both have some hype. I think so. It's gonna be interesting to see who wins this fight.
Okay. Next fight we have is here. Next fight we have is Yadir DelValle versus Antonio Monteiro. Yadir DelValle, the Cuban problem is 7-0, 28, 5-9. And then we have Antonio Monteiro is 17-4-1. He's 29-5-7. No reach given. Odds on these two gentlemen, Yadir DelValle is anywhere from -115 to -120. It's pick 'em. It's -115 a piece right now on Bet Online.
-125 DelValle and -105 Monteiro.
Oh, it just changed. Okay, yeah. Do you want to go first, Job? Or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. So looking at this fight, I think this fight's going to be a good fight. Well, I'll start with the DelValle side. When I'm looking at DelValle, I think his striking was pretty good. I think he throws good straight punches. His power is okay. He's not like some crazy power puncher, in my opinion. He has good knees in the clinch, good knees in the middle. Kind of gets a little wild at times. Not a fan of that. Grappling side, I think he's very good at grappling. When it comes to his scrambles, those are impressive. His ground and pounds. He does a lot of ground and pounds and attacks a sub directly after, which I think is impressive. That probably comes from being at Gracie Barra. But other than that, like I like that there. On the Monteiro side, I think he's got decent power as well. I don't think either of these guys are like crazy strong hitters, to be honest. I think Antonio has a good pace. He's got decent leg kicks. They're pretty quick. I like how Monteiro, he's got that kind of like a Muay Thai guard, I guess, if you will, when it comes to standing. The only thing I don't like is sometimes he throws some looping punches. He's got good takedowns himself. His top control is decent. He's got decent transitions, and I think his ground and pound's also pretty good. So I think this fight's like pretty tough to pick. That's why I think it's probably justified at -110 a piece. But this is me again. I think it's important to wait to see where the lines come in, both because if one guy ends up being super crazy plus odds, I think that's a fair bet because you'll have some sort of an edge because I think a pick'em's fair. But I also like the over for this fight. I think both guys are pretty well-rounded on the ground. Both guys have decent striking. None of them are, like I said, are too strong of power hitters. So I like the over here as well. That's going to be the common theme for me. Drop, what are you thinking here?
But who are you picking to win, though? You need to pick a winner.
I'll go with the Cuban. Let's go with DelValle.
All right. Yeah, I tend to agree that it's going to go over. Like you said, I'm surprised that you didn't talk about DelValle pulling guillotine like that's his life.
He does it too often. He's like Dustin Poirier. I did notice that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a BJJ black belt, and he does have a good guillotine. He's crafty off his back, but the guy play off his back way too much. He pulled the guillotine way too much, and he lose rounds against these low level guys on the ground because he can't get up sometimes. It's a terrible look to me. On the feet, I don't really think he's a good striker. Like you said, I think he has good leg kicks, and he has okay power. But like he can lose 2 minutes on the feet doing a little bit of nothing, and then having a big minute that he's gonna like unload some combos and win some moments. But his cardio is not good. He's a gas bag. After like 5-6 minutes, the body language is not looking good. But then he can still push through it. He's not gonna quit on himself. But there's a fight or two where he almost quit, and his opponent like hurt him, dropped him in the clinch, and he found a way to get back up and shit like that. That was weird. The Aswell win's a good win. We know him. He went now at Contender Series this season. But yeah, I mean, he was able to get the body lock early, win the round that way. and it was a 29-28 type fight. Very close fight, could have gone either way. I just think that he's dangerous, he's explosive, and he could submit early in the first round. But if he doesn't, man, I don't think his finishing instincts as good as the fight goes on. And yeah, just I don't think he should be there. He's 7-0. Like I said, I don't think he's that good. I don't rate his cardio. Play off his back too much. His striking is not that good, but he's a DJJ black belt. He's crafty with the sub. But yeah, there are some of these fights, man, where he's getting taken down, where he's losing rounds. Even against Alamov, the last guy, he lost a round there, and then he's winning the round at the end, like last minute or so. He's stealing the rounds from this guy. When you go the distance, it's pretty bad. Like the cardio is not good. The round 3 is never good. So yeah, I don't like him, to be honest. I guess he could get a guillotine here, and props to him if he does. But I'm not high on this guy. And here, the other guy, Monteiro, I mean, the guy is 17-4 at the end of the day. You can go all the way back. There's even some of his fight on Fight Pass when he was 20 years old. He fought like the Antonio Carlos Ribeiro, BJJ black belt. The guy's 18-8 right now. I think he's a little bit older, but he fought him when he was 20 years old. I watched that fight. I want to see if he gassed out and to see the improvements he's made in the last few years. And I mean, he was in a guillotine in that fight at some point. He didn't panic. He looks okay, but he did gas out as the fight goes on. It was very high paced though. He showed me that dog in him. He showed me he has a crazy chin too, so that's good to see. His takedown defense and get up, I think, is pretty decent. And then the other fights, I've watched a couple of his fights. I don't think he has like big power, like you said, but he does swing sometimes, and he has good leg kicks himself. So they both have good leg kicks. I think on the feet, that's where they shine. But I think it's going to be kind of close on the sheet. But difference is, I think Monteiro is going to be the one pressuring DelValle. He's going to put him on the back foot, and he's a BJJ black belt himself. The guy, you guys, Peg probably don't know, but he's been training with Jose Aldo for a long ass time. You can go all the back. You look at his Instagram, you go all the way back, and he's been true with Jose Aldo since way back in the days. And like I said, BJJ black belt, he fought decent competition. He went five rounds his last fight. He's still able to get takedowns in round 5. Good ground and pound when he gets on top. He goes to the body on the feet too, which I like against a gas bag. And so he showed me 5 rounds cardio. He showed me wrestling. I think he could get on top here. And when he does, I think he's going to win the round. He could, having success with ground and pound, but I think he's going to have a big top time upside. If he gets into the sub attempts, he showed me last fight against Tavares. I know he's not the best fighter, but he was in some like deep guillotine, didn't panic, fight the hands, did all the right things. And the Martins fight, he was kind of losing that fight. He had some tough moments, but he got a slick arm lock at the end of round 3. It was pretty good. And then you can even go back the fight after that, the guy Rodriguez, 13-14, right? The guy it was 20-5 to the sub. He got a sub, arm triangle. It was pretty good. So the guy is improving in the grappling. I think his grappling is better. I think he's better on top. His top control is better. And the difference here, he's going to be the one shooting takedowns. If DelValle shoots takedown, I think he's going to get reversed potentially. And maybe he could get the back. He has good back take, but I don't really think it's going to happen. I think what is going to happen is they're going to have kind of a close fight on the feet, but then they're going to be in the clinch sometimes, or Monteiro is going to try to shoot the takedowns, and DelValle is going to pull a guillotine. I don't think he get it, and then he's going to lose the round off his back. He's not going to get up. And then as the fight goes on, he's going to be more and more tired, and he's not going to be able to get up again. And the guillotine's not going to be easy as the fight goes on too. And yeah, he does carry his power late, but I don't think his striking is all that. He's low volume. And give me the guy who's 17-4, who has way more experience, who fought the better guys, who has wrestling top time upside. And yeah, I think he win the fight by decision, but I think he could also potentially break him in the later rounds. So I play Monteiro here. I got plus 135 earlier today. Me and my guys kind of moved the line. It's around to pick him now. I think it should be a little bit wider. I will make, Monteiro around, almost 60%, minus 125 to minus 150, 55 to 60%. I think it's more accurate just because I think he has the better cardio, top time upside, close fight on the feet, and he's a BJJ black belt with good sub defense. I don't think he's getting submitted here. So yeah, I like Monteiro a good bit here.
All right. Key, what are you thinking? Then we'll move on.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of drives breakdown. I think DelValle was really underwhelmed. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated completely in his career. 11-0 total, amateur and professional. Um, and so I was expecting Fury FC guy. I was expecting to come into the tape and be a lot more excited than what I came out with. Yeah, this guy, I'm not sure that he understands what a jab is. It's just big looping shit in the clinches and grappling exchanges. He'll sort of it's weird because he'll sort of cruise through the rounds and like have minutes where he's just like standing there backing up. Then he'll sort of have a burst or two every once in a while. Um, I'm not sure what to think about the guy. In Combate Global, he got mounted at the end of round one, if I remember correctly, and
Yeah.
damn near got put out of there. Off his back, he just fucks around way too much. On the back though, and in people's guard, on top or on the back, I will say I think that he's legit. Real control. That's where you can tell that he's truly a black belt. Because I mean he has real top pressure. And I like to see him up the ground and pound a little more, but just positionally, I mean he's clean as hell on the back or on top. And I think he's a nightmare for a lot of featherweights, period. On the Monteiro side, I think that he's a bit of an idiot, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think he's the highest IQ fighter on earth. But he does have that fighting spirit of every Brazilian. He's a dog. Cardio is a little questionable in my opinion. And he also doesn't always know what a jab is, but he surely knows what a leg kick is. And he'll fire off leg kicks. He'll throw big hooks. His chin is showed to be pretty good. And I watched the two fight in one night tournament that he won the belt as Centurion FC. He fought at welterweight and did not look out of place at all. Strength popped off the screen still. And I watched both of those fights in full. What I didn't like, he also played off of his back a little too much. It ended up winning him at the last fight as he won by armbar in that fight. But he just absolutely played off his back a little too much, gave up his back in round one, got pounded out really bad, and also has some bad looks himself. So I think that grappling wise, I think that you're going to see, I think you're going to see not necessarily a wash, because I think that both have top time upside, weirdly, just because they both will play off of their back. But I think that Monteiro has the better wrestling. He times his shots better. He gets on top. He settles pretty well. And on the feet, I think that he has a better cardio, probably the better striking. But neither guy should be here, if I'm being completely honest. Like, this is what I mean by this season has just been really underwhelming, because neither guy should be here. So this is kind of bullshit to me. But Monteiro, I know it says 5'7". I'm not sure, one, that he's 5'7", and two, he does not look small at all. I'm pretty sure that he has a very good doctor in Brazil, and he does not look small at all. So I think that he's going to be able to match the size just fine. I think this is going to be a pretty competitive fight. I'm interested to see who comes out and gets the win here. I don't think that either has real UFC upside. And I don't think that either get signed unless they get some crazy wild finish out of a chaotic exchange, which could happen because this is a fight that is volatile due to the way that they both fight. So this would be a fun fight to see, but neither should be here. This should be on an LFA Brazil card or some shit. So, but yeah, I think Monteiro gets it done. But yeah, we move on to the next
one. All right. This is the co-main event of the evening. We have a returning guest, Nick Piccininni versus Luis Gurule. Nick Piccininni, 7-0, 27, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach. Luis Gurule, 9-0, 30 years old, 5'5". He's out of Factory X, which I still don't know if that's a gym or not. I thought it wasn't, but hey, whatever. Gurule is anywhere from -120 to -110. Piccininni is also -110 to -120. I mean, looking at this fight, it was supposed to be Duffy, I think, right? Jack Duffy coming back, but Jack Duffy, I believe, sustained an injury or something along those lines. So this guy is filling in on relatively short notice, right? I think like 3 weeks or so, not even. So, yeah. Drav, looking at this fight and knowing what you know about Nick Piccininni, the 3-time division wrestler with all this, that, and another, and watching his first fight and him getting tired in the 3rd round, do you think he's still worth the hype as a prospect that he, was given early on?
I think he needs more time. Like you said about some of these other guys, I think he needs more time. Like I think maybe a year and a half, 2 years on the regional, like 4 or 5 more fights, and then you go in the UFC because he's gonna lose in the UFC. Like he's gonna. Remember what Dana White said to Torres Fini? Like you're gonna get beat up in the UFC, something like that. I think that's gonna happen to him. Not to say he's bad. I do like his wrestling. Top game is good. Cardio is normally okay, but last time out, he got beat up. He can't check leg kicks to save his life. And it was not only the last fight. It also happened in some of his regional fights. There's some fights he get dropped. There's some fight he gets his leg kicks, his leg kick off. And on the feet, he's okay. Like, it's not because he's terrible on the feet. He's okay. But he can get his leg destroyed, as we just seen last fight. And if he can get his wrestling game going, we've seen him just tire out in round 3. So this guy, Louis Gurule, I was kind of surprised with him because he reminds me of a mix of Miles John and Jane Silva mixed together. He's not as good at Jane Silva, don't get me wrong, but the way he fights, he looked like a mini Miles Jones mixed with a mini Jane Silva. That's funny. So, I mean, the guy is nonstop pressure. He has power, stepping elbows, nasty leg kicks, which I wanted to see. He's also a dog. He got dropped 2 times in the fight I've watched. I've watched a lot of them. Bad look, but he recovered right away, show that dog in him, and go right back at it. So I like that. I like his striking. I like his pressure. I like his cardio, decent power. Like I said, nice combos. Also, something I'm sure people not going to talk about, his defense is pretty fucking good, man. Like he rolls with shot pretty well. He blocks the most of punches, and the way he's boxing in the pocket, I love that, man. So I like the guy. Also, he doesn't telegraph his leg kicks, man. Sometimes it looks like he's about to box and boom, a leg kicks. I've seen him drop people with leg kicks on tapes. So just with that, he's a better striker for sure. He has more power for sure. I also think he has better cardio. But then the wrestling, okay. So I think his wrestling offensively is pretty decent with what I've seen. But defensively, I've not seen enough. That's kind of my thing here. Like, I've seen him scramble. I've seen him get taken down. But when he got taken down, the 3 times I've seen it, he got right back up. He wastes no time. He got right back up. And he can wrestle himself offensively, and he's not going to slow down. So I think he's the side, but it's like he's never fought a wrestler like Nick. And I think Nick never fought a striker like this guy also. Against a wrestler like Nick, you want a guy that's going to A, pressure, B, kick the legs, and C, defend a takedown and not gas out. And that's exactly this guy. So, yeah, I mean, I like him quite a bit here. But the prices that pick him, and I think there's some recency bias in that, so I don't want to buy it. Because Nick was minus 300 the last fight, and then he almost lost. Most people think he lost. And then the fight after, he's a pick him because people are so low on him now. So I don't want to buy into that and pay the price for it. But I think it's a fight where he's going to struggle trying to get takedowns, where he's getting pressure, where he's getting his legs beat up, and where he's not the better striker. And this guy, Gurule, he's a better striker than the last guy Nick just fought. And I think that he has more power than the guy that Nick just lost, arguably too. So, but he's coming in on short notice. I don't really think it's going to be a problem. He used to be a Factory X guy, trying at high elevation, and I think his card is pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to pick Gurule to get it done, but I kind of want a better price. So I'm going to see where the line goes, and I'm not going to play him at a pick him. That's for sure.
Key, you want to go and I'll close this out?
Yeah, I really want to see Duffy again. I'm not gonna lie, that performance last time out was just electric on all fronts. In between the rounds, laying on his back,
Yeah.
lactic acid out. I mean, like this guy is just like a different breed. You don't see too many like weirdos like that get in. So I really want to see him again. I hope that he gets a win or two on the regional scene and is able to make it into UFC because that was a really solid performance. Nick, we know Fortis MMA. I'm not very high on Saif Saud's coaching. I know that he's been putting in some work with Brandon Moreno and training with those guys in Vegas while he's been waiting on this next Dana White Contender Series fight. But this guy, I mean, great wrestling. Didn't know how to check a leg kick. It'll be interesting to see the changes that they make with that. That obviously like has to be a point of emphasis after literally almost losing a fight just due to the fact that you couldn't check leg kicks. But Duffy also posed some like threats off his back that I don't think that Nick is going to see consistently. Duffy had some crafty BJJ and was able to create some scrambles and reversals that I thought were pretty cool. Gurule, I'm not super high on. Again, this is a weird fight to cap just because I haven't seen Gurule deal with the wrestling heavy guy. Like none of us have. So it's just tough because you don't know what you're going to get truly. In theory, due to his wrestling background, I would think that he's going to be able to defend some of these takedowns. But I'm not sure what he's going to look like once Nick settles on top. I'm not sure what he's going to look like if Nick gets the back. Like, there's a lot of questions that have to be answered that I just don't have the answers to right now. So for that reason, this being a pick'em also, it's a pass fight for me. I think that Gurule is probably, if there's any time to make a UFC run, it has to be now. I mean, he's about to be 31 and at flyweight. You're getting closer and closer to just being old as fuck. Nick, I think that he's another guy that needs another year on regionals. He has to just go through, and not for necessary of, I think he's going to lose. He just has to have more fight experience. I think the Duffy fight was a great learning lesson. I think there's plenty of other learning lessons that he needs at the regional level before he gets to UFC. So I think that this is tough because they obviously had to keep Nick on this card. That this is a pass fight for me. I really hate it. And I'm interested to see because I know that all of these Division I, especially Division I decorated wrestlers, come in and everybody loves to just dick ride. I'm just not sure that I don't think that this is going to pan out long term for either guy here. So it's a pass fight for me. I'm not too excited if you can't tell.
Yeah, I'm just going to, these guys recapped it great. I'm just going to add a few things, a few highlights that stand out to me. On the Luis Gurule side, the forward pressure of him, I believe Dravi said that, it's constant. So obviously anyone who's wrestled knows trying to shoot a takedown from the back foot is not easy. Can a D1 wrestler do it? Sure. But like I said, it's not easy. One of the things about, the grappling of Luis Gurule, a lot of things you see there, he has like a decent cage push. He can be taken down. He's got pretty good cardio from being at elevation. And what I kind of liked, if you watch when he does get taken down, he's like hard to hold down. He's able to get up. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't faced the caliber of D1 wrestler like Drav said, but he still was pretty hard to hold down on tapes. We look at the sub game of Piccininni, head and arm triangle, rear naked choke, white belt bully shit. I do the same stuff when I can. It's, there, but like I said, you got to really break someone and be a bully to do it. Obviously, has the wrestling upside. Striking, he just eats leg kicks. We saw that last fight. Has literally no answer for them. He actually doesn't even address them, to be honest. He doesn't even address them. So I got to go with Luis here. If I were to take a bet, shocker, Peg is going with an over. I think this fight goes over as well. I think we're in for a pretty, I don't want to say boring night because they may be bangers, but I think a lot of these fights, I don't think we're going to get a lot of finishes this card, to be completely honest with you. Okay. Let's go to our main event here. Main event is Nick Klein versus Geraldo Souza. Nick Klein, He is a weird looking dude. He is actually, I didn't even realize his nickname was Blue Collar. Kind of love that. Nick Klein, he's 29, 6'1", out of Pura Vida BJJ. Geraldo Souza, 9-1-1, 29, 5'11", out of Evolcow, Thai. Odds in these two gentlemen, you can get Geraldo Souza minus 185 to minus 188. You get Nick Klein anywhere from plus 145 to plus 155. Key, do you want to go first? Do you want me to start? How do you want to do it?
The banger of the night, bro. Let's
the man.
Go. What
the
you
man.
Got? The banger of the night.
Got to get my notes out. 1 second. Okay. So, this I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not. I'm going with my boy Blue Collar here. Shocker. Why? I love being blue collar. It's the working class. It's what keeps this country going. Just like people just like Nick Klein with chest hats and hard hats. All right. From a striking standpoint, he's pretty good. I think he pokes a jab out semi-well. He throws good amount of leg kicks, decent leg kicks there. He doesn't really handle pressure well, just based off optics, which could obviously be an issue here. And I don't really think, like, on his back foot, he doesn't look super comfortable. But like I said, that's when he pokes that jab out, and it does look pretty good at times. Where he shines, I think, is going to be the wrestling department here. I think when he shoots, he gets, like we talked about with the first fight, he gets the hips well. He captures the hips, gets that deep takedown right to the ground. And one of the things he does that I like is that he's got the tight squeeze, and I don't want to compare him to Tatsuro Taira, but like he doesn't go with the triangle attempt as much, but he stays on that body lock. He doesn't, like, a lot of people get to the hips and their hands move up and they go for the back of the arms, or they move their arms somewhere else. He stays in that body lock until he knows he's got the position secured, takes top time, and then he's controlling you. He's one of those guys where if he was fighting, a non-grappler, one takedown and that's the round. He's going to control you for the whole time. He's got good squeeze. He's got good cardio. Overall, like, I'm pretty happy with this guy. I believe he's a teammate of what's the guy with the long hair that was out of Pura Vida a few weeks ago? Wes Schultz.
Yeah.
In a gym with him, getting reps with him. That's, a pretty good guy to have when it comes to grappling, wrestling, stuff like that. On the Geraldo Souza side, definitely the better striker. He's got a good jab. He works the body well. He's got good clinch work, his knees, his check hooks, the body kicks. Like, everything's there when you're looking at. I mean, like we said, he's coming out of a Muay Thai gym. Makes sense. Thing about his grappling. Like, I think his grappling's good. He scrambles... he scrambles well, but the thing about him that I think favors Nick Klein is what he does from the back. He's one of those guys that can be taken down, and when he's taken down, he's active off the back. He's just whipping up subs, throwing this, throwing that. Don't get me wrong, like, that's great, and people like seeing that, but a guy like Klein, who I think is at a gym with good jiu-jitsu guys like Wes Schultz and stuff like that, a really pure, so we'll play on words, a pure jiu-jitsu gym. I think a guy like Nick Klein isn't like not aware of these submission threats. So I think he won't have a problem here when it comes down to it. I think he can open up some ground and pound here. I think that's going to be live there. And I just think that, like, if he's taken down against the cage, Souza will be able to get up. If he's taken down in the open mat, it's just going to look kind of like our main event. Like Royval taking down against the mat versus taking down against the cage. Like, one guy you can get up a lot easier when you push your back to the cage and peel him off. Open mat, Klein's going to be there all day like a wet blanket. So, honestly, give me the dog shot here. Let me get Nick Klein plus 185. That's the first time I don't have any wagers yet. I think the line does get wider on Souza, so I'm kind of waiting there. But this is another fight where I don't think we see a finish. I think this goes the distance as well. Key, you go next, then Drav will close us out.
Wait, I want to say something. The real reason why Peg is picking Nick Klein. Look at your eyes. You're so confused. Because I sent this picture in the chat today, and since then, Peg now said that he's picking him. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yes, because he banged Ryan Reynolds. Exactly. That's exactly why we bet him. Blue collar as could be. Key, what do you think of my breakdown? Does it sound like I did for nothing but phenomenal tapes for my whole afternoon and I wrote notes?
Sounds like you got to watch some of the greatest fights we've ever seen before. I mean, Nick Klein on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, what more could we ask
During
for?
NFL football in the prime of the
Yeah.
season.
I mean, this is as good as it gets. This is what we live for. This and regional women's MMA. I mean, it doesn't get any better. In all seriousness, I think that Nick Klein is shit. I hate to say that just so like bluntly, but it's true. I think Geraldo Souza is shit. Again, whoever did scouting for Dana White Contender Series this year, I think that we need to like sacrifice them to Russia or somebody. Like we got to throw them to the wolves. Like this shit is terrible. Like Nick Klein is main eventing a Dana White Contender. Like this is like we got to draw the line somewhere. And I know that like we got a lot of Dana White defenders and UFC bootlickers, but like we got to draw the line somewhere. This is like getting out of control. And I know that Nick Klein's on short notice here, but I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't believe that Wes Schultz is a great guy to have training with you. That does not move me at all. I think that Wes Schultz is also not very good. And just weirdly was able to carry himself through a couple rounds against Monteiro earlier this Contender Series, but that's besides the point. Nick Klein, he's going to try to grapple. And I will say, once he gets the back, he's not bad. Like, for him to get that round 3 submission against Huck Body, I don't think that Huck Body is very good either. But it showed that he was still trying and fighting to the end, because that was one that he could have easily rode out and just put his hands up while he had the back. He kept on trying to find the choke, and he did, and damn near put him to sleep. I will say he will try to stick to a game plan, but I don't think it's obviously he doesn't like getting hit. His reactions to getting hit versus what was that guy's
The
name?
optics.
I mean, that was just terrible. I mean, he got absolutely pieced up and shit on. And I think that Souza's Muay Thai, I actually liked his physicality in the clinch, but he's a gas bag. I mean, he's gassing out in these fights. And I love when fighters with terrible cardio show off their high IQ by throwing spin kicks and wheel kicks 24/7. And Souza loves that shit. Like, worst cardio in the world, but is willing to spend the little bit of cardio he has throwing bullshit spinning kicks. Like, it's insane, some of the thought processes of these guys. I think that Souza ends up winning just due to physicality, athleticism, and being a functional fighter. But Klein does have round 2, round 3 upside. If he's able to just survive and make it ugly for a little while, I think that he does outdog Souza. But yeah, this is a fight.
Blue collar style, baby.
This should not be on Dana White Contender Series. I wouldn't be excited for this shit on LFA Brazil. Like, I would not be excited for this fight if you put it in my backyard, honestly. Like, this just shows, I mean, I'd rather watch Sean O'Bannon and Alice Hardy-Lean tape for 10 hours than to watch Nick Klein ever again in my life. So this is an absolute pass fight for me. This is just such a disappointing way. I'd rather Hernandez and Martinez headline this card than Nick Klein. If I'm just being completely honest, that's no women's MMA bias. I'm just being for real. This is a bullshit fight. This shouldn't be here. Neither of these guys should be here. They weren't even scheduled initially to ever fight. Like, this is just, regardless, neither guy has UFC upside. Souza probably gets a contract, funny enough. If he does find the finish, he will get a contract, and the fades will be glorious in the UFC. So I will say that. So I'll be rooting for Souza by a fucking flying, spinning dick kick for all I care. Just get him into the UFC so I can fade him in round 2, round 3 props from there.
All right, we want to get this done under an hour. Drop you 50 seconds. What do you think?
Hey, after you just took like 10 minutes to break down this beautiful main event, I don't have much to say here. The only thing I'll add is Souza is a BJJ black belt at the end of the day, so he's not bad on the ground. You know, the thing is he's getting tired of shit in the fight. So the fight that he got to draw in terrible look. After 6-7 minutes, he's not the same guy. Takedown defense is not there. Get up game, he doesn't really care about getting up, and he play off his back a little bit. And after like 7 minutes, like I said, he's just not the same fighter. But in the first round, he's very dangerous, and I've seen him put guys out cold. His power is legit, and Nick Klein, his striking defense is not good. In the fight that he lost, he got beat the fuck up. He got dropped multiple times. He got knocked out. Terrible look. But then I think that he looked decent in the fight against Colin Ogbuddy. You know, he looked good with the wrestling here. He was relentless with the wrestling, with the back take and everything. He got the sub, so props to him. But he's gonna have to eat a lot of shot, and he's gonna be in danger early, and he's gonna have to like come back after that. I feel like when Souza's getting more tired, Nick Klein's gonna have to wrestle heavy, grapple heavy. But I don't think he's very good. But his wrestling and takedowns and cardio is pretty decent. But on the feet, I don't really rate him. I think Souza hit harder. I think he's a better striker, and he's a BJJ black belt. So when he's fresh, I don't think Klein's going to have much success, and he's going to have a very dangerous first round. But the thing I don't understand is they put Souza minus 185, and they put the under 1.5 at plus 145. If Souza covered this price and win, it's going to be under 1.5. He's going to finish him. So why is it plus 145? It doesn't really make sense, because if you go over 1.5, which is almost minus 200, you want to be on Nick Klein, because probably make it a dogfight and out cardio, outpace him, and maybe win a decision or finish him late. So I don't think you can lay minus 185 on Souza. But if you want to play him, I would play the under 1.5 at plus 145, or potentially the round one prop, because almost always, I know he has a couple decisions, but all the fights he won at distance, he has one decision, and one draw, right? So the fights he won later on, it got really bad for him. And even the last fight, he got a KO against Fisher. He was getting pieced up, and then he found a kill shot. Props to him. If you like something like that's going to happen here, he's going to get taken down once or twice. Looks like he's about to gas out, and then bang, it's gonna bunk him. I think that's what's going to happen. So it's just going to be a pass for me. I guess Souza just bunked him. But if it goes after 6-7 minutes and you have him at minus 185, you're not gonna be happy with yourself. And if I had to bet anything, I guess it's dog or pass, but maybe the under 1.5 if you like the Souza side, it's not a bad look. So yeah, guys, since the card's over now, let's just go back and give all of our picks for the card before it's all said and done, and then we can get out of here.
Okay, so fight number one was Otto versus Micallef. My pick is going to be
pick all the fights. You go first. We're gonna go.
Just do the full card at once.
Yeah.
So are we talking about just like who we pick to win, or like betting picks?
Who you pick to win?
All right. So I'm gonna go Micallef. I'm gonna go Leslie Hernandez. I'm gonna go Yadier DelValle. I'm gonna go Louis Gurule, and I'm gonna go Nick Klein.
All right, I'll go next. So I'm gonna go Mohamed Ado, Leslie Hernandez, Antonio Monteiro, Louis Gurule, and Geraldo Souza.
Wow, all the favorites, so sharp.
It's not true. I got 2 bets, 2 underdogs. What you talking about? And I picked 3 dogs.
Key, what do you got?
Yeah, I got Mohamed Ado, Leslie Hernandez, Antonio Monteiro, Nick Piccininni, and Geraldo Souza.
All right, guys, that's a show. Parlay all the overs except for the main event, and it's going to cash. I'm calling it right now. All right, that's the show. Thanks for joining us. We will be back on Wednesday. I think we're just recording because it's a Vegas card, Apex. So, all right, guys, see you on Wednesday. We'll hopefully get the video out in the morning. If not, they'll be at night. Most likely at night. Peace.